Up Sports network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod, Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.
You're listening to Drunk on Broad, Philly Sports Unfiltered! From Broad Street down to the bank, we bleed red, green, black, blue, and gray. Racial classics, KJ pride, Philly's hardware, drunk on the ride. A.G. Elliott flying on at night, Six Stars lights up, the sky's so bright. Flyers crash like thunder on the ice, Philly swinging, everything's nice. Union chanting, passion loud and raw, city of grit, we break every law. Down, drunk on broad, no we don't sleep. City of champions, running deep. For another round, let's make it loud. Feel it forever. We're Broad Street proud. Drunk on Broad, yeah we're home. Drunk on Broad.
Well, it's not our usual day, Joe, but it's Saturday morning. It's Mother Nature can't figure it out. It's supposed to be spring, but it's 33 degrees outside. Last I checked, but it is what it is. We'll figure out a way. I got a smorgasbord, Joe, of off season stuff that we can talk about. But today is really just it's kind of like a mailbag day. It's just kind of like clean everything up. We got some new free agents. We've got some draft needs. At some point in time, Joe, I want to talk about a kicker. If that makes any kind of sense right now.
I think I know where you're going.
I know that there's some new stadium conversation happening. I don't know how to even say this with a straight face, but there's some former Eagle relationship drama that's circling the social media circles. There's no more drama with the tush push. You tell me where you want to go, Joe.
Oh man, hey, you know what we haven't talked about in a while? Why don't we just jump right into an obscure topic, the AJ Brown situation? Totally kidding. Totally kidding. Totally kidding. I don't care, man.
No.
Wherever you want. Flip a coin, Don. Flip a coin.
3 minutes and 27 seconds it took to mention AJ Brown.
I'm sorry, I had to do it.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Joe, let's just start with the free agents, right? The newest crop of guys that the Eagles have brought back. And this offseason is very similar to last. They're kind of building on the fringes. They have this solidified base of players. The big addition back is Fred Johnson, in terms of really starting to build the backup roles that we know inevitably will be useful for where we have seen this offensive line in the last couple of seasons. Talk to me about Fred Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a part of this team for a few years now. He's a plug and play guy. He knows the guys. He plays well with the guys. He's he's a spot starter. I mean, he's played multiple games in a row when he has to. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's not he's not going to take over a position on that line and be the man, but he's a guy that you need to have because he can play guard, he can play tackle. So you need that familiarity. He's still young enough to be as effective as he is. I mean, we saw what he did, you know, at guard, and we saw what we did with when he, Lane missed all that time. You have to have that kind of guy at your disposal. And it was great. I'm sure it's a team friendly deal. He probably wasn't going to get what he was quote unquote looking for, out on the market. So I mean,
Mhm.
I think it was a no brainer. I mean, then you go into the draft looking for what you're really looking for. But I mean, it's a win. It's a win-win in my opinion.
I mean, it's kind of hard to disagree, Joe. I mean, you think about the game last year where Lane gets injured, they bring in Matt Pryor to play tackle at the very beginning of the game, right? And that lasted until about halftime. And at halftime, they bring in Fred Johnson, and all of a sudden, everything magically works. Um, he's a guy that I think last offseason tested the market to really try to find a place where he could find a home as a starting tackle. Um,
Yeah.
and I hate to say it, but very quickly found out that maybe that is not his role in this league. That his role is to come in and spot start, and um, because in that role he is a really truly valuable player. To put him out there for an entire season, I think that it is it's your typical like overexposure. And I think
Agree.
he's a great guy to have in the locker room. And I'm curious that we didn't see really any other offensive line additions in this offseason because I was really looking forward to seeing, like, obviously with Stout out of that position, right? And you've got a new guy in there leading that group, that to see what direction they kind of go, to kind of see what type of players they're thinking about bringing in. And we really didn't get a glimpse into that at all, really, because you bring back a guy that you kind of know what you have, which is where I think we may get a better sense of that in the draft, in terms of being able to get a sense for the type of player that they might be looking at. But the other two guys that they bring in, right, you're talking about Pierce and you're talking about Elijah Moore. I mean, Pierce is a guy that is intriguing, right? He originally gets drafted in the top half of the second round, but has kind of had a floundering-ish, very inconsistent career. He's the fourth running back in that room. Um, Maybe helps you in special teams and kick returns. Um, Same thing with Elijah Moore. Right now is like in a very crowded wide receiver room, that all of a sudden has a little bit more NFL depth than they're used to. Um, Curious to see what your thoughts are on those two guys.
Yeah, I think I kind of got caught off guard with the whole Damian Pierce signing. I honestly didn't even realize he was still in the league, but I think it's kind of like low. I can't even say high reward because I don't know if he's ever gonna really, unless you have injuries. I mean, might wind up on the practice squad or something like that. But
Joe, low
um,
low risk anything reward?
yeah,
Is that
yeah. I
even a
mean,
thing, right?
if he shows burst, if he shows, if he's got anything of Tank Bigsby in him, I mean, that might be it, it's a no brainer move,
Yeah.
or are they kind of souring on Will Shipley? I don't know. We don't know. He
Hmm.
might. It's going to be a camp battle, or maybe a practice squad kind of guy, but. Um, that's what they do. They bring guys in. They see what they have left, and if he doesn't really have enough to make a dent on this team, then he might not be here long. Elijah Moore. I've always liked Elijah
Hmm.
Moore. I mean, way back. I mean, yeah. I mean, look at the connection. You can all connect the dots. Ole Miss, him and AJ Brown. But
Yeah.
besides him even being Eagles related. I mean, coming out of college, he was a very sought after receiver who's kind of smallish, but he's shifty. He has good hands.
Mhm.
He has had some decent success in the NFL. So,
For
and he's
sure.
still young. So, I mean, why not? You bring him in. I'm sure that deal is a super team friendly deal. Um, if you read between the tea leaves, maybe it was a little bit having to do with Brown, which I can't see why it wouldn't. I mean, they could have brought in how many other guys at with his kind of skill set. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
I mean, Joe,
We'll see. It can't hurt. It
no,
can't
and I think
it
right, like
can't hurt.
he's a guy who like there are other connections that we could make, right? The fact that like you got Joe Douglas, who was the GM at the Jets at the time when he got drafted 34th overall, that is now back in the Eagles front office, right? There's a connection there that they saw something there. Um, but again, a guy who like all the guys that they're picking up right now, they're all guys, they all fit kind of the same mold. They're all guys that are like NFL vets, have underproduced where they've been, that they're maybe looking for an opportunity to, but none of, Joe, if we're talking about any of these guys doing anything in meaningful situations, that means that something really bad has happened. Um, because if you're talking about like Elijah Moore and like Hollywood Brown, and you're talking about any of these guys that if these guys are making meaningful contributions,
Right.
either you're talking about injury, dysfunction, losing, like you're talking about things have gone awfully sideways. So these guys are going to be guys that are going to help at the fringes of the roster. Some of these guys that we're talking about, Joe, might not even make the 53.
Sure.
Guys that might now with the flexibility that you have on the practice squad, like you can keep vets on the practice squad that you know, you can keep guys on there that, other teams might not be, too keen on that, it again, this is a no lose situation. If you get production and you get meaningful stuff out of them, great. Because if you don't, these deals are not costing you anything. They're not.
Right.
They're all 1 year deals. They're all prove it deals. They're all deals that are I can't even say easy to get out of. They're almost like throwaway money.
Right. Yeah.
So
It's like temp work. I mean, they could be here. They could be
you
here.
know what, you're really
For
that's a really good analogy. Yeah.
it could be temp work. They could be here for the season. They could be here for camp. They could be here for a preseason game, and they're like, "Yeah, this guy's kind of cooked. Let's get him
Yeah.
out of here."
And
But
listen,
that's
if you're trying to save camp snaps from your from your top guys, right? You're going to see what they have, right? If you got Hollywood Brown and you got, Elijah Moore and you got if you got these guys that are on the fringes of the roster and you're really trying to figure out who do we want to keep,
right.
and then those guys are getting meaningful camp snaps against like against Quinion Mitchell, against Cooper DeJean, against Tyreek Woolen, like you're going to see who's gonna who's
Make
gonna
or
kind
break.
of rise to who's gonna
Yep.
kind of rise to the top playing against guys that are going
The
to
top.
play, right? So like that's to me the only place where I can kind of see, if and again at this point we're just going to assume AJ Brown is on the roster until he's not. Everything that I read and see and hear, Joe, at this point, it seems like it's trending more likely that he would be here than not. But at this point,
It's roller coaster.
there really honestly is no point in speculating
It's
anything at this point
March.
because it's March. That stuff is not going to suss itself out until, at the very least, post June 1st.
Yep.
But even then, I think the Eagles are they're being very steadfast in like, this is what we would want. And if you are not willing to meet that, we are happy to have him back. So it just kind of is
Yes.
what it is.
It is,
Yeah.
and I think too. You'll see. You'll probably know a little bit more for sure. If you see
Mhm.
the Eagles go out and draft a receiver in round one or round two. If they
Yes.
draft a wide receiver in round one or round two, that
Yep.
means that means they're gonna, whatever their asking price is, that's what they're gonna really hold out to the very end
Yeah.
for. But in the at the end game of it all, they'll take a slightly lesser package to
For
to
sure.
move to move him. That's, I mean, that's just my opinion. I think that's just how that unfolds. But
For
to
sure.
to go back and forth and to speculate and keep talking about it in March, it's not gonna happen. Like, it can't happen because then you completely handcuffed yourself until the season starts, when all, your salary, your cap, and all that, and how much money you have, and all that stuff, gets dispersed differently once the season actually starts. So
For sure.
they're not gonna handcuff themselves like that, because I'm sure there's other moves to be made. So
Mhm.
they can't financially do it. They
No.
have no wiggle room if they were to do it before June. So it's
No.
just they're gonna it's just, it's a waiting game.
It is. You got some new Eagles with some new numbers, right? Hollywood Brown's going to take over 0. You got Tyreek Woolen, who's going to take over the number 2 from, well, I'll just say it, from Darius Slay, because,
Yeah,
you know,
Jahan,
Jahan
Jahan
Dotson did not.
didn't live up to it.
I don't know if he was on the field long enough to make an impact as a guy who wore that jersey. Tank Bigsby is going to go to number 8. And then there's some other guys on the fringes of the roster. But I'm hoping that Hollywood Brown has the same kind of production that we got when the first guy to wear 0, DeAndre Swift, wore that. No, I like it. I like the single digit numbers.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool that they've opened that up and allowed them to pick whatever they want. But the thing with Brown, and I mean, ever since he's college and wherever he's gone in the NFL, it's just a matter of health. Like,
For
he's
sure.
gonna produce. He's absolutely gonna produce. You listen to the way he talks. He grew up an Eagles fan. He talks highly of Jalen. He seems like a stand-up guy. And I mean, if he's on the field, I mean, he's gonna be an integral part for Mannion.
Hmm.
I don't know if he's gonna be the. I mean, they don't have like a necessarily a number one. They had Wicks, they had Dobbs, they had Watson. They kind of mixed these guys up, but I think he's a very good chess piece for a
For sure.
Mannion style offense.
I like it. Now, listen, Joe, the extension that Jake Elliott gets in terms of reworking his deal really does kind of cement him into the. He really has cemented himself into that role for being the one who's going to be doing the kicking for the Sixers next year, or Sixers. Jesus, I mean, he could be kicking
Hey,
for the
that could be
Sixers.
his fallback. I don't know
Um,
about kicking, but
but there is an intriguing candidate.
yeah, I
The
know.
guy who was kicking from the University of Texas San Antonio, um, and he presents himself as a very, very intriguing candidate. Um, and I'm looking at this, and all right, so we're talking about the guy that we're talking about is Jafar Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
Not
I've
that
seen
his
him.
40 means anything, Joe,
Yeah,
because he runs a 4.5 40, which means that if he needs to get down the field and make a tackle, he can.
yeah.
Okay. He went in the pro day at the UTSA, right? He goes 12 of 13. Here's the important stat. He was good from 70.
Wow.
I got it. The Eagles were in attendance. I got to imagine, Joe, you could waste a late round pick on something far more insignificant.
Oh, I mean, that guy has Eagles written all over him. I mean, I don't know where he's projected to go, but if somebody needs a kicker, or if a bad team comes along and is like just like they fall in love with a player like that, he could go relatively high. I mean, if you look at him, he exudes athlete, like ripped. I mean, looks like a track star. He kicked the hell out of the ball. He's an athletic Sebastian Janikowski.
Okay. I can get down with it. And right now, Joe, I'm just looking it up. His draft projection is that he does not get drafted.
That's crazy. That's
So,
that's crazy.
so again, if you've got Howie Roseman in a position where you're talking about you've got multiple seventh round picks,
Absolutely, no brainer.
right?
I mean, Jordan, I
I
love it.
mean, and here's the thing, Joe, is that I think about you look at a guy like Brandon Aubrey in Dallas and how that changes the dynamic of how you can run the offense when you know that you have a guy that is he essentially turned half the field into 3 points
Yeah,
and how valuable that is for your offense.
yeah, yeah. I mean, absolutely. There's guys that you're just reaching at that point. It's
Mhm.
if you've got a backup at every position, if you already feel good about your team, and you have a guy that could come in and consistently kick 60 to 70-yard field goals and do it at show that they could do it at NFL level, like that guy is invaluable. Invaluable. I mean, I think at this point, especially with Jake Elliott, it's if they weren't going to bring him back, well, they might draft this guy as his heir apparent
Mhm.
later on. But I don't know who would be available that to do what Jake Elliott has done. I think that's what they're banking on. This is kind of like, Jake, here you go. Yeah, we're going to give you a little bit less, but we're showing you that you're our guy. Get out there and show us why we're keeping you around. So,
For
um,
sure.
I think, I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't get worse. I mean, but if it gets worse and it's he's really struggling in game 3 and he's really struggling in game 4, then it's like, do you make a move there? Do you go to game 5 and see how he's doing there? Because as we've seen before, when they fall into the tank completely, it's it. There's no They don't come back.
Here's the
They don't come
thing,
back from it.
Joe, is that they have already let us know that their window is open, but it is not wide open. And I got the feeling that like as good as he has been, if there are opportunities for him to cost them points early on in the season, it wouldn't surprise me if they are not going to hesitate to make a move because they realize they are not going to be in a position to be able to like throw away games. This division's going to be better next year.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and who's to say with all the stockpiles of picks that we have next year and the year after,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't put it past the realm of, Jake goes in the tank, game 3, game 4, and it doesn't, like, he looks just completely lost.
Yep.
he gets on the phone with, I don't know, Jacksonville for little and says, "Look, we'll give you a third round pick or a fourth round pick
Yeah.
for a game changing." I mean, he's a game changing kicker.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a young stud, game changing kicker, and I mean, we've seen kickers get drafted higher than that. So, I mean, that guy could. I mean, it's grass. Yeah, it's nice weather, but everywhere he's kicked, on the road, at home, it doesn't matter. Like he's a stud. He's a
For
stud,
sure.
and that's a guy. That's a guy you need on your team. That he's going to come in the game, but like he's going to make that kick.
For sure.
60 yards, he's going to make that kick. 62 yards,
Yep.
he's going to make that kick. And you know what? Yeah, he's probably, 7 or 8 times out of 10, he's going to make 65 plus.
Now, speaking of draft needs, last time you and I got together, we were talking about we went through a little 5-round mock draft. Now I want to today I want to just look at draft needs. I want you to rank them in order. I'm going to give you 5 positions. We're going to rank them from 5 to 1. 5 being least important. So, you've got here are the 5 positions I'm going to give you. Edge rusher, offensive line, tight end, corner, and wide receiver. Those are your 5 positions. We're going to rank them from 5 to 1. Now, considering edge rusher, right? You want to try to find someone long term to pair with Nolan Smith, right? This is the position that we could see them address via trade. I know you had sent some stuff that Jonathan Grenard trade is still kind of the
Floating out
talks have
there.
not. They're still out there. We know that they're trying to draft Lane Johnson's replacement, and where they're picking at 23 could provide a lot of opportunities for them to get that guy. We know that tight end is a position that they've kind of gone season to season. Even with the addition of Tyreek Woolen, corner is still a position that they love to add. And that we know, that wide receiver 3, we know that they've addressed that in free agency a little bit, but talk to me about so which one of those out of there is the least important?
The least important, probably tight end. I think the draft is very deep. I think a guy, if they really wanted a tight end and they were like, we need a good solid tight end, and we need a starting caliber tight end, you could always make a move, flip a pick for somebody. There's teams that have number 1 tight ends that are playing as number 2s. But you go by need, and you go by best player available.
Yeah,
Having for me it's offensive line. For me it's offensive line just
that's one.
because that's
Offensive
one
line is
for
one.
me. That's one for me. If
Okay.
there's a guy there at 23 there, or that's close to 23 or within striking distance, and your new offensive line coach, your offensive coordinator, that guy is going to come in. If there's a day 1 starter who's still on the board, you're running up there, and you're making that move. Just because of
There's going to be
the
guys there, Joe.
there
I
are,
mean, you
and
got
it's
the kid
Lane
from
Johnson.
Penn
You got to
State.
have that
You
It's
got
got to happen. It has to
yeah,
happen, whether it's round 1 or round 2. There's got to be, that guy. If we get him in here, and we put him under Lane's wing, we put him under the offensive line coach's wing, he can be. We can see him as a future right tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles.
yeah. I think Joe, you got the kid from Penn State. You got Proctor from Alabama. You got the
Georgia
kid
Freeling,
the
Miller. I
Freeling.
mean, yeah.
There's going to be a lot of guys there that if you really wanted to address it, you could. So right now you've got offensive line 1. What's the next one?
2, barring, and all these, like I said, all this stuff is barring what they mean. The offensive line thing, they're not going to make a trade or a free agent or they go that route. But receiver is going to be interesting. Safety is going to be interesting. You know,
Okay.
it's and then edge, same thing. It's gonna come down to, what's the free agency pool left? trade guys with trades and this and that. That's gonna affect that. But for me, it's edge slash safety. They're
Okay.
the safety room. The both positions. Look at Jalen Hunt's been really good, really good. Nolan Smith has been good when he's in the game, but he's battled injury. He's coming up on an extension at some
Right.
point. So it's, what do you want to do? What route are you going to go with that? But it seems like edge is pretty deep as well. But are they fringe players, or are they guys that can come in and actually can start or be starters
Right.
this year or next year and be consistent players? Because that's what you need. I mean, right now is Jalex Hunt be a 17 to 18 game player? I don't know that, and I don't know if the Eagles know that. Same thing with Nolan
Yeah.
Smith. I mean, even if he does stay healthy, is he an 8 to 10 sack a year player? But we
Right.
we want we want guys that are going to be consistently 10 plus, like,
Hmm.
closer to, obviously Miles Garrett, or
Right.
Jonathan Grenard, or Trayvon Walker, who it's basically go down the line and see who's willing to bite.
Who's
Like
right?
Trayvon Walker from the Jags. If I'm Howie, I'm calling them up and saying, I'll give you a 2 and a 4. I'll
Yeah.
give you I'll give you a
Yeah.
2 and a 4, and the fourth, if he gets 10 sacks, or all incentive based, that could get bumped up to a third. But that's the kind of guy he's super young. He played with Jordan Davis. He played with Jalen Carter. He is super productive, and he's a double-digit sack guy. But you
Yeah.
put him back
True.
with the Georgia boys, like, it's gonna be like,
Could be.
you know,
Yeah. It could be.
it's
Right. So like
it's positions of impact that impact the game. Those are the players that you need.
for sure. Yeah, and I think like right. So like if I'm hearing you right, you've got offensive line at 1, you've got edge rusher at 2, and then you've got tight end at 5. So corner, which one is more important for you, corner or wide receiver?
Obviously, the Brown situation will dictate that,
For
because
sure.
if he's here,
As the roster stands.
as the roster stands, then wide receiver gets pushed. Wide
Okay.
receiver gets pushed, because at least you have a Hollywood Brown. At least you could draft a guy at a wide receiver later on to fill, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. Because Hollywood Brown could get bumped up to a 2. Hollywood Brown would be a perfect 3. You got to see how that all falls into place. But
Hmm.
other than Dallas Goddard, like, the guy they signed from the Jags is a good signing, but he's a blocker. Calcaterra, we still, who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows if he's gonna last? But they haven't addressed the tight end position since they drafted Dallas Goddard. I
Yeah.
mean, my thing has always been. I mean, they're cheap. Like, look, Jonnu Smith from, where was he on last year? Pittsburgh. I think he's still
Hmm.
available. Like, you could sign him right now for $3 million, $4 million right now, and you'd probably beat out the other teams if anybody else is even looking for him. But
Yeah.
my thing is, it's like, I love Dallas, but Dallas is not consistently on the field. So if he
Well, and he,
misses
he
3 games or four
year
games,
to year, right?
that position is just going to fall off a cliff.
Mhm. Which Joe, to me, is why, like, I think with these positions that we know are positions of need, that like I think your roster is also good enough that I think when the pick comes to you, whether that's at 23 or whether they see a guy that they want to move up and they use the capital, or they trade back and they gain more assets. I think they're in a good position that there are going to be players that fit what they want to do, that fit positions of need, that you can kind of go best player available, right? Like if there's an offensive lineman that you absolutely love, like if the kid from Penn State is there and you love him, you can
Then
take him
you
and you
right.
can leave him there, right? Like, but if Kenyon Sadiq is there,
Ah,
right? Like if he's there and he's at a position of need, and you know that your tight end room is a
this
year
is
to
it for
year,
Dallas. This is
right?
it.
And you know that you're moving into an offense that is going to utilize multiple tight ends. Is he a guy, right? I think you could I think you could justify that. I think if
Absolutely.
there's if there's an edge guy, like if one of those edge guys is there from Ohio State or Miami, or like, I mean, I know Rich is gonna love if they take a guy from Miami and stick him on the edge, but like I think that they have, like, to me, tight end, offensive line, and edge are in a whole different level above corner and wide receiver. I think you've got enough corner and wide receiver depth that you wouldn't have to address that early on. Now, we know that they're going to stockpile guys on the roster. But I think if with edge, offensive line, and tight end, there's enough talent there that they don't have to reach to be able to get a guy that they really like and that they would be really happy with. That's going to
Sure.
make this roster significantly better and have an effect on the field next year.
No doubt, no doubt, Don. I mean, there's some of these positions, and that happens in every draft. Like the an offensive line draft is deep, or the edge class is deep. You know, they're gonna have their board. They're gonna have their guys. You know, Howie's gonna be wheeling, dealing, trading picks, trading up, trading back, trading for guys, on other teams that, they've exhausted all their options. They're not going to get that extension, like they possibly like a Grenard if his money drops. I mean, his
Yeah,
number, if they're talking what they're talking now, he wants kind of like a Jalen Phillips deal, and there's no way that's going to happen for us anyway. But
yeah, no,
there's guys, Sadiq, like obviously I want Lane's replacement in the first round, but if Sadiq is still hanging on the board at 18, 19, I mean, it's a no-brainer to go. He's a game changer. I
uh-huh.
mean, you bring him in, he can block, he's athletic, he could catch. Like he's
Joe,
he's
he
the
does everything.
he's the perfect
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he could play wide receiver. And that
Sure.
right there is he's your tight end for the next 5 to 7 years
I mean,
at the
Joe, I would
least.
argue with you that he's probably the closest thing to Brock Bowers, right? But there are some other. I think the thing with tight end is right. There are a couple of other guys that are second, third, fourth round guys that
Bowers and
similar.
Claire and yeah,
Yeah, that are very similar.
yeah.
I just think that he's an athletic freak where the stuff just jumps off the table.
There's no
And
way. I can't see, like, even with some of these bad teams, like they need an offensive
I
lineman,
mean,
or their
no,
defense
I'm
stinks, but Sadiq's sitting there
the
on the board. It's like he's the sexy pick. But he's gonna produce. He's gonna produce and just be a freak. No matter where he goes. But yeah, I mean, he would. I'd love him. I'd love him on the Birds. But safety, the guy from Toledo. Something, I think his last name is Warren. He's
he's
McNeil
got like a
Warren.
hyphenated last name.
McNeil Warren. I mean, he
Yep.
played with Q. I mean,
Mhm.
he's a stud. But
Yeah,
are the
for
Eagles?
sure,
Did the Eagles go that high at that kind of position? So,
for sure.
um,
The
but
team that scares me with Sadiq, Joe,
the Rams.
at 13,
Yeah, yeah. I
and
mean,
they have the rod. I mean, it doesn't matter that they already have 4 or 5 tight ends on their roster. Um, the opportunity to put him in that
he's your
offense,
third. He's your third wide receiver. Who
you're
could
gonna
be your
you're
Who could
gonna
be
see
your two? Yeah.
you could see McVay. That is that it
That's
the
just would be
only
bonkers.
yeah the only way that he
Bonkers.
would get to the Eagles if he gets past them at 13.
And
I just
you're
don't see it.
trading up
But
and this and that. Well, you don't know. I mean,
sure,
with all this crap with,
you never know.
and you don't know the whole story of what's going on with Puka, but he seems like just an absolute nightmare. So yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
and that in itself might make you say, you know what, we're gonna need somebody in case that shit goes. In case that shit
well,
goes
Joe, at some
sideways.
point he's going to take a big bite out of your salary cap. So,
Oh, jeez,
boom,
Don.
boom.
That's the dad joke for the. Well, I'm not poo pooing what the whole situation and what he did, but they had a mock football card that came out. I think I saw it on Twitter X. I don't know if you saw it, Don, but it was a picture of him standing behind a girl and it said Puka Nachua.
That's great.
Terrible,
Oh, the
terrible.
dad jokes on Saturday mornings. All right,
Dude,
Joe.
I got them. I got way too many, and the show would probably
Now,
get canceled if I spit any of them out. So
listen,
we'll get
we
back
can
to football.
we can touch on this real quick. I know that there's some rumblings and some conversations about a new stadium that and the hard part for me, right? The just to go over some of the details of it, right? The link and the current lease with the team and the stadium expires in 2032. I'm sure they'll have an opportunity to renew it between now and then.
Something's gonna
I
happen
know
soon.
that it, the hard part for me is that the conversation is kind of that the team is exploring the opportunity to either have the new stadium be enclosed so that it would increase the event hosting opportunities, concerts, uh, other sports off season, and then Final Four, Super Bowls, that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Which I, I I can't be mad at them, but I hate it. I hate that there have been so many epically important outdoor events that have happened with this team, and to take away the opportunity that any of that would ever happen again. Um, I really I don't love it.
No, I mean I absolutely see both sides of it. You know, it comes
Mhm.
down to a financial thing too for Lurie, but I mean, look no other place than Buffalo. I mean,
Yeah, they're doing it,
you they're no they're no their stadium. I think their stadium is
but
their
I'm saying
stadium open.
yeah, I'm saying they're
Right,
doing it. They're
right,
figuring out a
and
way to
then I
make it
mean,
work.
you want to talk about some of the shittiest, all god awful weather for a sporting event. I mean, look no
Mhm.
further than playing in Buffalo. I mean, but that advantage that you have and that the feel, the nostalgia of all that. I mean, that's like teams go into that stadium and they're like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, we're I'm good. We'll just chalk this one up. We'll get the next team the next week." But that's what you want. You know,
yeah,
you kind of that kind of goes right out the window when you throw, open closed stadium or full on dome or whatever it is. I mean, the only way it works is, hey, can we keep it open in the wintertime to feel the cold? But I don't know how the hell you do that. I mean, if you can
yeah.
find a way to make an enclosed open shut stadium where you can still open it up for inclement weather and it doesn't screw anything up,
Yeah,
hey, I'd be all for it. But it's not now. Don't get me wrong. That I think the stadium would be louder, but you're still gonna miss the elements. You know, the ice storms and
for
the
sure.
snowstorms and the just that feel of what you get of being there during the winter. Like, oh my God, we got the game at home. Oh my God, it's playoff time, and oh, they're gonna have to come to our house. Well, yeah, it's not gonna have the same feel, man. It's just
Yeah,
not.
yeah, and I think obviously if it were retractable, that would make it better for concerts for Final Four. It would give you the opportunity to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Um, I think that Joe, the biggest difference for me between like when they made the switch to leave the vet, obviously, to the link. I mean, the link is a stadium that is constantly updated, right? To meet kind of state of the art requirements, where the vet was just not. And that to me is like the biggest difference. To look at the money that they've invested in the link over the course of the last couple years, over the course of the lifespan of the link, and since it's opened, it's just not the same. It seems kind of hard to say like tear it down completely. I would say like you would look for opportunities to figure out a way to make it more appealing for those events. I don't know what that is, but when I look at this and I go, it doesn't seem that out of date. It is old, right? It's old in terms of like
22? Yeah.
22 years.
Was it 03
Which is
or 04?
uh,
I can't. Well, either 03 or 04. We don't have to get down
Yeah.
to split hairs, but
yeah.
I mean,
Their first game in there was the season they came back and played Tampa. The like when they played
it
the
was 03 because it was the year
03
after we
when they
lost
played
to
Tampa.
them in playoffs. Yeah, so it was
So
03. But yeah, 23. We're going into 23 season 23.
so it's older, right? And you see the new shiny toys, right? And that are around. I think I like the idea of it, but I also don't. So it's
something's going to happen. They're either going to enclose it.
Mhm.
I think they're either going to enclose it or they're going to build a
Something
brand
brand
new stadium or an enclosed stadium. One of those two, I mean, are going to happen because, like you said, 2032. I mean, I don't know how quickly you could build a stadium. I don't know how long it took to build Bill Stadium from the ground up, but something's got to give. Something's going to happen, and we're going to hear something. I think we're probably going to hear something very, very soon on what their plans are. Very soon. Very soon.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. Now I'm looking up the timeline of the Bill Stadium.
Because we're at 6 years. We're at about 6 years.
Major construction began in May of 23.
Oh,
And they're going to open in July of 26.
that's fast.
It's a cool stadium. The whole idea of it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's sunken in, so like when you walk in at ground level, the stadium is down. And it's like partially enclosed, so like there's an opening at the top. But it'll still allow for elements to be a part of it, but not necessarily have the same type
That
of
is severe.
effect.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I'm curious to see what happens. Because I don't know. It seems
Inevitable.
counterproductive to be able to tear something down that you've invested billions of dollars into, to then spend billions of dollars more on something else. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
How they got a plan?
Jeff, they do. I'm sure they do. No more tush push drama. Obviously, that kind of fell off the map with the lack of success. I'm curious to see what they do in those situations next year if they go back to it. Obviously, with a new offensive coordinator, I am kind of hoping that there's a little bit more creativity. That's not just like a static go back to.
Right.
But speaking of tush pushes,
yeah,
the drama that unfolded on Eagles social media this week. Brent Selleck's ex-wife is now in a relationship with Hollis Thomas.
It's wild. That shit is just
Former
crazy.
teammates.
It's crazy.
I have so many questions, Joe.
What the?
So many questions.
How long has this been going on, Hollis?
It is wild, and especially considering that they were former teammates.
Well, that's the
Um,
thing. Is it Rod Brindamore and Eric Lindros all over again? Ah,
we need the answer, Susie Sell.
call. Hey, I know you're. She's probably watching the show, duh. But hey, you know what? Whenever you want to come on and talk about it, we're totally unfiltered.
We're listen. We're here for it all. Um, all right,
I
Joe.
saw
You
that and I
got
was like, "Is this real? Is this real? Is this AI?"
God. I saw the picture and I really did think that it was. It was
Somebody,
kind of
this is
weird.
photoshopped.
Um, Joe, I just to do something fun on the way out. Um, Passing of a legend. Chuck Norris passes away.
Yeah,
Um,
totally
and
agree.
the imp Joe, do you have any infinite wisdom Chuck Norris isms that you like Chuck like I heard I heard who was it? I heard it was a female Philly sports commentator and she said Chuck Norris once told a woman to calm down and she did.
I can't think of any off the top of my head, but Chuck Norris was a guy. I mean, I can remember as far back to when I was just a wee little Bucci. I
Mhm.
mean, he was like the man. I mean, he was on every show.
Yeah.
He was doing karate movies and kung fu movies
Hmm.
and Walker Texas Ranger. I mean, he was the man. Like he
Yeah.
was the man, and everybody looked up to him. He was like that guy where he was just like he was a TV, he was a superstar. He was the role model. He got all those workout videos and the juicers and all the stuff that he did online on TV to get himself in shape and to get people on board and get them in shape. He was a great dude. He was the
Yeah.
man. I watched Walker Texas Ranger like religiously. Or if I'm flipping channels and I see his face, I'm stopping. No matter what I'm doing, I'm stopping and watching what he's
Hmm.
doing. Chuck
Um,
Chuck was that kind of guy.
so I had to, Joe, I couldn't resist. So I did some Chuck Norris style jokes with the Philly sports theme.
That's great.
All right, you ready? We're gonna start with the Flyers. Chuck Norris once dropped the gloves and the ice apologized. And then Chuck Norris once scored a hat trick with one shot and no puck. Okay? When Chuck Norris dunks, the backboard files a complaint. And then
This is great.
Chuck Norris once played all 5 positions at the same time.
Oh my god.
All right, here we go. Um, all right, the baseball. Here we go. Chuck Norris doesn't need a bat. He stares at the ball, and it leaves the park out of respect.
That's too
Chuck
much.
Norris once struck out the umpire.
Oh my god.
All right, here we go. All right, Chuck Norris once blitzed from the parking lot and still got the sack before the snap. All right, and then here we go. This is Chuck Norris doesn't do the tush push. The Eagles asked him politely to move the entire defensive line instead.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And then here we go. The Philly special one. The Philly special only works because Chuck Norris had already approved it.
Wow. Dude. I
These are
mean,
just fun.
it's like
There's
he
a whole
was
bunch
so
more, but
energy. You could put him into anything in life.
it was so fabulous.
And it was and
So
it was and it was fitting. And it's
it
fitting.
was. So Joe, anything else you wanna drop before we pop out of here on Saturday morning?
Shout out, and I thought we were gonna discuss and go over, and I'm glad we didn't. Shout out to Cam Jurgens
Oh, go ahead.
for
Wax
for
poetically.
I mean, you could say what you want. He had an off this and that, and he wasn't right. Well, I mean, clearly we could see why he wasn't right. And
Right?
shout out to him for the Super Bowl victory, helping us pull that off. I mean, could you imagine if Cam Jurgens didn't play in the Super Bowl? Do we know
It's
what would have
crazy.
happened if Cam Jurgens didn't play in the Super Bowl? I mean, the news came out that he had a piece of his vertebra wrapped around his sciatic, and he could barely walk, let alone go on an NFL field and play a football game at the
Yeah,
absolute highest level. Um, Shout out to him for fighting through it and being able to actually get on the field and be a dominant force in the
for sure.
greatest game that an NFL player can play, the Super Bowl. So, hats off to him. Clap it up for him for fighting through that, doing whatever he needed to do, get it shot up, whatever he needed to do, but to fight through it and realize, I got to be there for my guys at whatever stakes. I mean, he might have gone out and done permanent damage where he couldn't walk again, or not be able to walk like a normal person. But go out there, fight through it, gut through it, finish the game, play the game, play. I mean, they were lights out in that game. I mean, we saw it. They were
For
absolutely
sure.
lights out. We had no idea how injured, he was. And even last year, he was only a percentage of himself. We don't know if he's still going through those kind of issues, but we
Yeah,
can never question his heart and his drive and his perseverance to be a warrior, to be an athlete for this team in the city. So shout out to Cam. I mean, I can never say I can never say
no,
anything else. I
not
mean,
at
I
all.
can. I can because
No,
we're Philly, but it's not
but Joe,
justified.
no,
Shout
no
out to him
surprise
for
that he
fighting
ends
through
up in
that.
another country getting stem cell therapy and
Hey, whatever he's got to
re,
do, man. I don't care if
re,
it's in
re,
a back alley
reoxygenating his
somewhere. It
blood,
doesn't
and
matter. Yeah,
who knows? And looks like he, obviously we saw the Landon Dickerson. He kind of went with him, or went after him. Who knows? But like, obviously they're there trying to do everything that they need to do, and to hear him kind of be, as genuine as he was with sharing that information, tons of respect for him. Um,
absolutely.
who knows? You never know, man. Listen, on the way out, go Birds. We got Sean. We should do a live on
Yeah,
Broad
that's my
drinking
that's my
40s
my
out of a
buddy, and
brown
I
paper
can't.
bag.
It's hard for me to
Listen,
see. It's hard for me to see the clips up there because it's so dark. But um, I don't know. I think we talked. I think I might have mentioned that to you before. We should do that at some point.
at some point,
At some point during our show, I don't know, this year's, maybe over the summer, we can coordinate a day. We'll get Ubers. Maybe my buddy Sean, can pick us the fuck up because he keeps pressing us on it.
hey,
But yeah,
listen, we
I think
got
I think it would be
we'll
I
figure
think
it
it would
out.
be hilarious. I think it would be
Oh,
hilarious.
it would be great. Listen, on the way out, Joe, go Birds.
Go Birds, Don. Go Birds, Philly. Let's go.